Welcome to FMA Talk Live. I'm your host, Datu Tim, and wait a minute. Who the hell is my co-host? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, these two go back and forth on this, so I'm just going to say Dean and Ty are here. How's everyone doing?
Good, you?
Doing well. Ty, how was the ride home?
Easy. Much. I appreciate the hour and a half closer. That's much better.
So this weekend was multiple camps, actually, and we were kind of waiting to see if Dean was going to walk through the door of our camp. I don't know how that all went. So we had the World Miners Alliance Instructor Development Camp, and then Dean was doing his Blade Tech program up in Toronto, right? Western Piper and Blade Tech?
Correct.
Okay. And he flew into Buffalo, and last time he flew into Buffalo, he ended up staying an extra day, and it happened again.
Same gate, same airline. Gate 20, Delta.
Oh, see, I actually have pretty good with Delta.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. But you're flying to an airport that's not a normal airport to go to, I guess. Yeah. Let me make sure that this is going on our stuff, because sometimes this doesn't always go on the way it's supposed to. Oh, it's on. I'm going to share to FMA discussion because I can do that.
You can do that. You have the power.
Something went wrong. What do you mean something went wrong? I'm going to copy the link, and then I'm going to go to FMA discussion and drop it there. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let me do this, and then I'll see what you're saying. So for those who are watching, I may be leaving the show for a bit. Next, in just under 2 weeks, I'm hosting the World FMA Championships in Buffalo here. So I'm supposed to be talking to some people from the Philippines today as far as the athletes coming over and stuff of that nature. So Grandmaster Hirano will be calling me up. So if he calls, I'll mute myself. You'll just look at me talking to myself, and those who turn in later and don't know about that, these guys will talk about me and saying I'm having a mental breakdown or something. So no big deal. So yeah. So so Dean, why don't you tell us about your event?
Yeah, it went really well.
I want to hear everything, including the border and stuff like that, because last time was a challenge, shall we say.
So apparently, Renee got in smoothly and picked me up. He had to get back pretty quickly to because he's actually in the process of moving as we speak.
Okay.
Yeah, so we went up there.
Other part of Toronto or out of the area?
I think it's still within that area, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So which, again, it was very nice of him. Like he, came and got me and brought me down. So a big thank you to him. So I stayed at his place Friday, but because he's doing a move, I didn't want to interfere with that, so it just made it easier. After that, I stayed with Mark Madero's Saturday night to Sunday. So both were very accommodating in there. So yeah, so it's a 2-day event. So the first day we did Blade Tech, WPM, and the first day and the second day we did Medusa and Burton Sea-Lot.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Mark's got a fantastic group going up there. Yeah, really just works out of Joe's gym. I name is escaping me now, but
Joy Reyes.
No. But it's quite a facility, and
Combat Arts.
Yeah, but the point of it, Mark's just got a really good group going there. He's really doing just excellent stuff. And Darcy came out. He's so yeah, it was a lot of fun see everybody. So.
Yeah, here we go. And here we go. Tom says hello, everyone. And yeah, I did
Oh,
say
and
Combat Arts and Tim Thompson.
Tim came down. I let him show each day some Bondo stuff. The folks enjoyed that.
Okay.
It was really, and that's another thing too. It was really nice for Tim to come. Matter of fact, a couple folks came from even farther up, like 4 hours. Dave Doherty and Pat Roast, and so that was really nice. When folks go out of their way to, come see you.
Yeah, I think I heard you had some pretty good numbers.
Yeah, they exceeded what we thought. Because here's the thing too. I told Mark, said, look, I really want to be able to move around and touch hands with your guys. Like I don't care about 20. I want to be able to, like, I could feel them, see help where I can, compliment where I can, and Saturday both days worked out perfectly in that regard.
Great. Good. What was your biggest takeaway from your trip?
Just how well Mark is doing with his group. He is basically taking what I gave him and without missing a beat, he's just doing exceptional work up there with them. Seeing Darcy and Renee, that was also equally, and just seeing everybody. I mean, just overall, like just a great group of guys that Mark has there.
Darcy's like Vancouver or something?
What's that?
Is Darcy from Vancouver or something?
The island is BC, but he's not in Vancouver. It's an island.
Victoria Island?
It could be. He's in the woods. Whatever it is. I mean, I tell you, he is so incredible. We were taking a walk because the Saturday night we stayed at Mark's trailer. And Darcy, so we went for a walk, and Darcy's pointing out all these plants and what you could do with them as far as medicine or teas, and that was just, really well versed in that area. It was pretty.
Tim didn't confirm it was Victoria, which I think was actually where Remy resided. Yeah. And then Tim said he was grateful for the opportunity, and then Craig Mason says hello.
Mm-hmm.
So Craig Mason didn't come.
Because he came to our camp.
I'm not sure what to do about that, but I guess we can talk about that later.
I would say just teach more interesting material.
Yeah. I would tell him that he's like on the 10-year plan for level 1. And he's ready to go. I don't know what he's waiting for.
All right. So this weekend we also did the World Money Alliance's instructor development camp. We've been doing this for quite some time. And hello, Pollywog.
Who's that?
I don't know. Pollywog. Apocalypse.
Just never heard that name before. That's all.
We get a very diverse bunch of viewers and creative names and stuff. So we just roll with it.
Yeah.
So we did a 3.5-day camp. The unofficial start to it was a soft start on Thursday, which a lot of times people can't do that one because they're flying in that day. It's rough to get away for 3-4 days.
Okay.
But we had Talis come up from Brazil.
So where did he stay?
He stayed at my house.
Okay.
So I had 5 at the house.
Ooh, who'd you have all there?
Well, it was Ty.
Okay.
And Craig. And then we had Sam Wolf. And then we had Darren Breslin. Okay. And we had Talis. We were actually supposed to have more, but some people had some last minute conflicts. So we were supposed to have 6 at the house. So, I mean, you've been in the house. We've got.
Yeah. It's like, you have the room for sure.
Yeah. I've got multiple guest rooms, and the bed can be split or stay as a big one. I gave Talis the snoring room, so that's my bedroom. And when I snore too much, I get kicked off to that room. So usually I start the night in one room and then finish the night in another because I end up snoring. So this time I just stayed and kept somebody awake. But so the first day we were doing like left versus right tappy tappy. Okay, here we go. Polywog. I'm a fan of Philippine march. Not much dojo time, but some security training. Been trying better. Okay. That's cool. What part of the world are you in? You know. So yeah, so we did that on, we were doing like the left versus right tappy tappy. We talked about some things with the forms and a few things here and there. And what else did we do on the first day, Ty?
First day.
Besides eat food and pudgies and then go out to Applebee's.
Right. That was the most, I think that was the most in-depth part of the first day.
I'm going to put this up because as I expected.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, but it was good. So we had several new folks too.
So when you say new folks, people that are weren't currently part of the organization,
right, or currently not part of the instructorship, because remember it's instructor development camp. So we got to bring them on board with starting from some basics and build up from there. And so everybody had plenty to work on for sure. But they had some of their own background experience and were able to hit the ground rolling with our details and materials. So it was good. It was good to have that mix in there too, because as you know, when you cross hands with more people or you help more people, it exposes more about the why of how we do things and what we're trying to emphasize. So that was really good. And so we had people from Texas, of course, Canada, Brazil, all over the eastern states here, and then some other Alabama, right? So good stuff. But yeah, so the second day was more of that basic stuff. Third day we got to do a no-cost edition extension for in between classes for a couple hours with Professor Jerry for some BJJ. Everybody really loved that too.
Oh, okay.
And me with my fake hips, I was able to even do about half of that. So that was pretty cool.
I found
years since I did that.
When I got done, I'm able to, not crazy, but certainly better than when I didn't have it done,
Right.
Yeah.
It was funny. I found my old uniform, which was really an old judo gi, in my belt with white belt with two black stripes on it. So
yeah.
Not that I remember what those were for, but anyway, I got on the floor and I was able to do some. And Jerry's just a phenomenal teacher. If you ever get a chance to play with him, and you've met him, I know.
Yeah.
A lot of fun, and of course a character, as you know.
That too.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah. And then there was actually, so Saturday night too, I believe we did the sort of Datu and Janice hosted a evening gathering at the house, right? It's where they cooked us a bunch of food and snacks and stuff, and just people hung outside with a fire and visited, caught up, discussed all the stuff, the decompression thing that you always want to do. You want to get the bonding, the family feel. So that was really good.
So how many did you have up there?
Right at the 20. Try to keep it 20 or below. Occasionally it's
I think it's
24.
like a great number. Like you get over 20, man,
you're
not degrading everybody.
Right. There's plenty to mix it up, but there's not too much to distract.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And since instructor development, we're trying to focus on
that's another thing too. You can't have 40 in there and try and
develop the delivery systems and how do you teach this and what do you look for and how to deal with these things and stuff like that. So it's, establishing curriculum, make sure, we're all on the same page and we understand things, but also helping everybody, be able to spread it the most efficient way and also answer questions along those lines too. So yeah, I enjoy those a lot. It's a different take. That's the only camp I've ever run across that sort of looks at the material that way and that puts the time in to, look at it from, hey, what does it take to be an instructor? What do you need to know? Are we all doing the same things? If we're not doing the same things, does it matter? right? Stuff like that. So
because it's something I'm going to WPM now as it's growing and more people are there, like making sure we're having everybody's on the same page, and it's
right,
I don't care about teaching styles,
right,
but everybody's following what is written. So if you go to somebody else, it's like
right. So the concepts need to be on point. Now the details can, everybody's got room for some flavor, right? But the concepts, I think, can't drift too far, right? Because then it's not going to be self-consistent. You're going to have
yeah,
a
it starts
strain.
looking like something else.
Right, exactly. It's going to be something else.
Yeah. So, that wow. That's so as far as the theme of instructor development,
Mhm.
like in other words, is it some Q&A, or you actually like do you actually maybe do like mock drills or something to maybe extract to see where they're at as far as teaching? Like what?
No, that's a good point. No, so actually, it basically starts out. I mean, it will be organic a fair bit, but it starts out with a little bit of sort of behind desk class time to establish what it is that we're working on, why, and there's some Q&A for that, and then some of the answers for the A part of that are saved for when we get on the floor. But basically, most of the time is on the floor, but there's a significant start of each session that's behind the tables. People are at the desks and asking questions, or and then Datu's answering, or maybe he's laying down, hey, this is sort of where I want to go today. We're looking out for these things, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, nobody's evaluating anybody's teaching methodology, if that's like you said, drills where they're teaching. That's an interesting thought, though.
Oh, here's the thing though, why I brought that up.
Mhm.
Because like one of the things I've changed in WPM is, okay, yeah, you did you got all the physical contact, you're performing it
Right.
correctly, this, but doesn't mean they could teach. You know
Right.
what I mean? Or maybe they never have, or maybe they need, maybe they're really good at teaching the stuff in the past because this is a different, modality, and because it's night, we have to look at some different things as far as the audience, et cetera, et cetera. Like I incorporated that, like before they become instructor, yes, they have to be able to explain the physical contact, the mechanics. But I think it was just as important, they have to show to me that they can teach from level 1, level 2, level 3. Like, and they don't pass unless they can do that. So to me, I think that is like so important. So what I did was to try to solve that piece. I meet with them and the other instructors, and they basically teach us.
Nice. So on kind of going through those steps and motions. That's interesting. Yeah. No. So we get some of that with some of the questions. So somebody will have a question about how is this emphasized, or what does this mean, and it's like, oh, set up the context for us, please, and go through what you're going to say. But the other thing is as you know, our modular programs, we end up teaching. The people have to then teach people to a certain level before they can become an instructor, and then you have to then have somebody pass the level where they can teach to become,
we do.
get
That's
that
a good
final
point.
third.
We do that as well. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then the other thing is that a lot of our black belt requirements are that you have to produce so many black belts. So obviously, first degree, you're not producing a first degree black belt, but after that, it becomes more and more. So you get some of that, and then some of that within this structure of the instructor development thing, but not to the extent you were talking about. Yeah.
Let me just ask you this though. Okay, so you got Johnny, who obviously he's a stud. He went through the curriculum. No issues.
Right.
He promoted a couple, but how do you know they are where they need to be? Like
Right.
where's the oversight, or I guess as far as that goes?
Okay, well, I'll take that as far as as far as you're trying to make sure that they're producing people of quality.
Well, not just so much a quality control, but just that they can in fact relay information, and that you're seeing that consistency, I guess, of articulation
there's
of
two
material.
different things. So to be honest with you, I don't care about it. And that's going to sound a little, well, what do you mean? People get better by doing. So we don't want to stifle them. That doesn't, and if someone who's got people that follows that, I've seen people that are horrendous instructors, but people follow them. I've seen people who aren't good practitioners, but they can develop students better than themselves. Mm-hmm. So what we do is that we get them in the program. We make sure they understand the material. We ask the questions. Then what happens before they're we have a vetting process for instructorship, and as far as being able to grade people, because that's really where the difference is. Because these days, a lot of people teach before they're black belts. They'll share something, or they'll be put as an assistant instructor in a club, and how do you get good at something? By practice.
Oh yeah, I
So,
have no issues with teaching beyond quote unquote instructor. Yeah.
What we'll do is to get people for grading officers is that I'll have them teach and like Talus. So we call it, we do a virtual test with Talus where he does a physical test for his people that we proctor. So, so when they can pass the yellow belt test to my standards, he can do a yellow belt test without me. When he can have someone pass the orange belt test, then I let him go to orange. So it's done a couple ways. When it's a place that we can visit, we will actually do a physical test for them, and then I'll say, all right, you're good till this belt. We keep on going. So Sam was one of those guys that came from a different organization, a Modern Arnis, went through that whole process. He's doing a really good job. Mr. Nally, how you doing? So to make sure that people aren't just slinging paper,
yeah,
what we do is we watch, they have to do a test through us. So in Modern Arnis, via Remy Prace's protocol, black belts could only be promoted by Remy Prace's. Mm-hmm. So I started with that. I'm the head of the organization. It comes through me because it's my standard. My black belts reputations, I have a reputation of producing very good black belts, and I wanted to keep that going. So we now have several people, Ty's one of them, that can promote the black belt without me being there. Chad's one of them. There's a handful of us. But what we do is before anyone's allowed to promote to black belt themselves or promote to any belt other than black belt, first of all, you got to be at least a 5th degree black belt to qualify to get on the program to teach to promote the black belt. So 5th degrees aren't able to promote the black belt automatically. It's something that you have to be one of the Punangarus, and then we have to go through and set all these things up. But what I do is, like I said, we'll set up a virtual test. They'll do a physical test. We will sit on it virtually. We'll ask some questions, and sometimes, like we've done with several people, like Talus, we've done that a lot because it's the long distance thing is the hard part. It took him a little while to get to where he's at. We had some communication problems, misinterpretation problems. I actually, during the test, I got so frustrated because bad acoustics. I couldn't speak the language. Google Translate's wonderful because I could talk into it and speak through the phone. So problem solving all the time. But, like I said, we'll set up a color belt test to whatever. I'm going to test your guys. If they're ready for blue belt, we'll go through the yellow, orange, and blue belt test. If I feel that they can do all that to my satisfaction, from after that, you can promote to that level without me. Okay. You think you got a green belt candidate? Let's see the green belt. Now there's a problem here because we make sure it's the curriculum. I've had some people that overperformed in their higher level of ability, but they didn't know the curriculum. If they don't know the curriculum, they do not get promoted to that. They might earn their belt, but I don't authorize their instructor to promote to that belt level if they're missing significant pieces of curriculum and stuff of that nature. So,
well, you have to have protocol in place then. So, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but the thing here is I don't keep anyone from teaching. Because, when they come from camp, we actually, so like with our modular training programs, which are usually for black belts and other systems, and that's the bulk of our clientele. What we do is first thing you do is there's 3 phases of everything. Phase 1, you can do the completion course. Phase 2 is a proficiency course. Phase 3, when you can have someone pass the proficiency course that we haven't taught, that was a product of you by itself, then you're officially a level 1 instructor in that course. So we have a lot of modular training programs. So, you know, and like I said, and the grading, we do the same, is that I vet all the instructors myself. So we do not let them promote people on WMA paper until they pass. We can proctor those tests. Then what happens is everyone has to be a member. An instructor. So Sam called me up and says, "Hey, you know, he's licensed to do. He's Mr. Wolf is set up to do high brown. It's our red and black belt. You know, half red, half black. So he'll do a test. He'll call me up. I got 2 of them. He'll give me their name, the date that the test was. I record the dates. I record where it was done. Every diploma there's a number on it, and there's a place for his signature and mine. I send him a digital copy so he can print it up with my signature on it, and then he can just put his signature on there. So no, the problem was the certificates in the past. A lot of times the signature was the camp host, and the instructor's signature was never on those diplomas. So if there was a falling out, someone could say, well, I was a student of Remy, not this guy. So looking at all those different things. And then we have an expiration or a renewal dates on our black belt diplomas where people have to come back. And like every 5 years, it will fall off. And it's not that they don't unlearn stuff. Well, actually, no, they do. They do forget things. I mean, tell me what you learned in high school. Can you pass that course today? So people forget shit all the time. And I've had martial artists say, I don't unlearn stuff. I go, you forget things all the time. You're supposed to bring this to me 3 weeks in a row. You're supposed to be bringing me this book and you don't do it. So yeah, you can forget shit. So we want to make sure that people stay active with us, which means they have to be interactive. They're up to any updates because sometimes I come up with a new way of explaining something or a different delivery system that's better. So, yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. Like Brendan does a renewal thing, but if you stay active and you're doing and then it's a non-factor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really important to, when folks reach a certain level and they have students, to give them the allowance to teach, not to further perpetuate not only to further perpetuate their understanding and make them better at translating and that, but also obviously to further along the system. And if they got a student body, what better way? It's kind of like, you know, a couple birds with one stone, right? And plus, I mean, and you're not that holding back and that over control mechanism, assuming of course the right person, the right fit, and they are following, you know, what you gave them and are not going off into a different lane. I think it's actually really productive to do that, you know, as long as you set parameters to a certain level, and you know.
Well, and the thing here is I take responsibility from the top down.
Yeah,
so
same here. Yeah,
we had a person I went to do a test at their school, and they came from a different lineage of modern Arnis, and I didn't vet them as much as I should have. And unfortunately, people didn't pass. I had to stop in the middle of the test. And, you know, and because I thought, you know, this person was a refugee from another group, I thought the other group would have done a good job. They didn't. We actually talked about it. The camp person was there, and I said, this was my fault. Just recently, I was doing a test, and our locks and control portion of the test came up, and it was unsatisfactory. Well, who runs the class? This guy right here. You know, and yes,
they appreciate that when you take the hit and you in front of everybody and you tell that. You know?
Hey, you know, and we talked about it. Like, listen, this is my school, my responsibility. I do the majority of the teaching, and why aren't we better at our DUMOG? Because we, as in me, hasn't been running the class to go through there. And a lot of these, I've got kids that are in school. I got parents that are running their kids around in school. So it's a lot harder to practice at home on your own these days, like it was at least when I came up. I was, you know, I had nothing going on. I couldn't keep a girlfriend because I enjoyed training too much. So, you know, and you know, I paid my tuition. I can do that every day. Where I didn't always go out partying on the weekend because I didn't have enough money to buy a pitcher for my friends. So I trained more, but we definitely take that responsibility. It's from the top down, not the bottom up.
Yeah.
But Ty, you came on board. You were the hermit, and we got you out of hermit mode. Well, tell us about your experience with.
Actually, no. Can I have a question for Ty? Since Ty, you were a seasoned already in Arnis, like what made you want to be part of Tim's organization?
No, well, that's pretty easy actually. So I wanted to, and I still want to. I want to support everybody who's training Arnis, and I used to go around to all sorts of camps wherever I felt welcome. So that was one thing. Definitely felt welcome. It was like old times because I met Tim back in the '90s, many years, a few years before Remy died, and then of course after Remy died, there was some weirdness happening, and I decided, you know what, you guys, figure that out on your own. I'm going to go over here and train and teach and do stuff on my own. That's the hermit mode. But when I came out, I went to a lot of different camps and seminars and supported people. I'm friends. I went to several camps at like Bruce's. I saw Master Tapi Tapi at some of theirs. And I kept going back for places that made me feel the most welcome. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I really liked the structure of, one, the number of camps and seminars and events, and two, the curriculum and the standards and the thought that went into that. I like things organized. I like to have progressions. I like to see, and for people to see where they're going. One of the things when I started under Eric Alexander for that first year or two, he had a curriculum, and it was based on the black belt test, and it was patterned after, I guess I found out many years later that it was patterned after something that Tim had ahead of time. But the point is, I always like a curriculum, right? So you can know where you're going, know what's expected. You can maybe learn something early. Maybe that lets you, swap around a little bit, but there's still an overall sense of progression, expectation, and accountability, really, right? So you can take responsibility for where you're going as opposed to just, hey, I'm doing happy fun playtime. So to me, those jumped out, and while the other, some of the others may or may not have that, or they didn't seem to have it at the time, I'm sure that their instructors had a way of presenting things that they wanted to do. But I like to have something on the paper that everybody had. So that was those two things. Three things, right? Felt the most welcome there. Liked the number of events and camps, and really, really liked the progression and thought that went into that.
And this is in terms of Tim's organization.
Yeah, for WMA. Yep. That said, I'm unless there's weirdnesses happening, I'm happy for everybody training whichever one they're in. Happy to go support again when I feel welcome. But yeah, this is where I ended up. Ideally, when I first came out of Hermitage, I would have loved to, had all the time in the world to hit everybody, right? Not hit them, but visit, support, and play with, and train and support. Exactly. But you only have so much time, right? So I had to go where I felt with the most bang for the buck and the most appreciated.
Yeah, it's true. Like that's a good point. Like there are times I've been to that crossroads where like, okay, I gotta pick two. I mean,
yep.
It's
even
just
these days, even nowadays, right?
And everything. Yeah, and what are you gonna do? You're gonna pick the two that resonate with you from the experience, right?
So for the longest time, I was doing Bruce's camps as well as WMA camps because, one, friends with Bruce, and two, there was a nice no conflict as far as overlapping events, and it was a big camp, which is nice, and friendly people, all that good stuff. But even nowadays, I get 4 or so things sometimes scheduled in the same weekend, and
I know that. I know. Where was Bruce's camps? Where were they?
Florida, Georgia, that kind of good stuff.
So are they still current? Or?
The last few, maybe 6-8 years, I'm not sure. He seemed to not have. So after Jack died, rest in peace. They didn't have so many camps, but they did have seminars or day-long events. But that was harder for me to justify driving, half the day down for a partial day event and half the day back up. I don't mind a long drive, but I want a big chunk of training material and things like that. And some of my favorite, excerpts, some of my shorts on YouTube are taken from some of the things I was doing and part of for Chris camps. Bruce camps. So yeah. And I got to meet Chad Bailey at one of Bruce's camps, and we got along real fine. And anyway, So yeah, I have nothing against folks unless I said there's some weird personal stuff, but that's neither here nor there organizationally and for all the people that are training modernists.
People like I keep hearing like after he died, the weirdness. Yeah, like I said, it happens when the head figure dies. You're gonna have that.
It happened really fast too.
Well, I mean, you know what? He was the magnet. He attracted us
Sure,
all.
sure.
We didn't have anything in common with each other. Well, I mean, some of us did, but most of us had something. The one thing we had in common was that we were like Remy. Doesn't mean, I mean, okay, there's people I never hung out with after Remy died. That's fine because they weren't people I would hang out with. But I was always cordial with these people, and I tried to have a good time while I was around these people. But and some people like you sit there and go, he's not a bad guy. Will you hang out with him? Maybe, maybe not. Nothing wrong with them. It's just there's certain people I hang with and certain people I don't. And just like other things, is like even just being able to hang out with people is the same thing. How much time of the week do you have to go and do things? I've cut a lot of people out of in my life that they're still all dear friends of mine, but our lives have brought us all in different directions. And when I see some people, it's just like I saw them the day before, and we're talking like we even picking up conversations we just had. Others they just never clicked. But the thing with Ty, and when he came on board, I think the things that we talked about was the fact that he's not my student. I am the technical director of the organization. I am the CEO and president. I make the decisions for the organization, but I don't assume a teaching role to people just because they're in the association. Obviously so we did the instructor camp. I was the instructor, except for when Professor Jerry was there, and then he did our introduction to BJJ program for a bunch of our people. So, which was a cool thing, and, but, I have my students and my lineage, and I also have members that are not my students, but they're members of the association. We're all part of the team, and I do have Ty teach at our events, and people like them, and we hang out. We have a good thing going all the way around. Everyone loves each other there, in that one way or another. And sometimes we put the fun in dysfunction, but that's a dysfunctional family. And Eric, how you doing, sir? How you doing?
Awesome.
But the other thing too is I do not make people make choices of who their friends are. So there's people that no one gets along with everybody,
right?
And I have never and Ty's been there, and he can call bullshit on me today if he wants to. But if he does, I will give Dean the new guest spot here officially. That I might, if I have a problem with someone, we might have a dialogue about that problem and why I don't like that person. But I have never told someone who they can or cannot hang out with. I might say, listen, you might want to watch it around this person because, or if you're going to hang around this person, the best thing to do is not to mention my name.
Yeah, no, I definitely can't publish on that. In fact, that's actually one of the things that, made me feel welcome. There's other groups, I'm not going to say, and it doesn't matter who, but they did not give me that same kind of consideration. But I can tell you, so I think I'm the only one that I know of, except I guess maybe Tim. But anyway, back when things were happening better. But I'm the only one that I know of that has taught at Bruce camps, at Tim camps, at IMAF, Chuck and Kenny camps, both in Texas and participated in up in Chicago, Illinois, as well as GMZ, as well as Dieter. And I've been searching for my friend who, came up with me in Texas, of course, Grandmaster Jeff Delaney, right? So I was out there in the field, and these are more than one shots. These are 2 to 3 or 4, depending on which one of those you're talking about. And I went out there and did that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you can't say like you didn't you didn't, you didn't test the market, or you didn't see like what was a good fit. I mean, you were,
Right.
yeah, okay.
I wanted them all to be a good fit, except of course, one, I didn't have an infinite number of time, and two, like I said, there's some things here that gravitated naturally.
Yeah. It's, yeah, it's funny. I think as instructors, like when I tell my student, but in the groups, just to keep the social media, how to conduct yourself, and all that. And I say, look, we all have folks. I go, but what's important is, yes, more candid conversations can happen behind closed doors, but out in the floor and all that, you got to keep that up. It's just not
Keep it professional, and you focus on the students, what they
exactly.
need.
Yeah.
And they don't need that drama. They need.
And they don't, and right. They don't need to be put in the middle. And and I think it's just distasteful. Like, I had one instructor used to like blatantly right in front of, would just put down people and all that. And
Right.
it's just wrong. You know what I mean?
Oh, I should add to the list that I gave you also the Bates event, the Hall of Flame or Hall of Fame, depending on which year you looked at it. So that's a whole huge chunk of U.S. associated Modern East, and of course Germany, and not to mention, of course, the Philippines.
Ty has has seen every group except for Jeff Delaney, and I think Jeff Delaney's the people he's doing stuff with now. I mean, and he knew Jeff back in the day, but since Remy's passing, unfortunately, Jeff only teaches. I think he teaches at Romanelli's in Detroit like twice a year, and Romanelli doesn't do, from what I understand, really doesn't put any information to make it easy for Ty to go there. I mean, and we talked to Lyman. He's like, just go. I'm like, and it's like, yeah, we don't work that way.
Right. I wouldn't want to surprise them, given some of the politics stuff. They could, I've already had on some of the groups some weird questions about, are you here to test us? No, I'm here because I love Modern East and I love all the students.
I'm here to support and
exactly studying Modern East. But
yeah, I mean, or
you don't want to surprise someone.
You've been interrogated.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let me get a few of these here. So Antonio, always a pleasure, my friend. Always a pleasure. Pollywog, listen, you know what? It might not fully count, but it counts. You're still working and doing stuff. So
they're doing nothing.
I was a partial artist first, so I was a backyard guy working with people. I did finally get into something official, and it was a day and night difference for me. But the thing here is, once I found what my niche, it blew up for me, and I had done a lot of previous training, self-development, which worked out really well. So I never looked that down, I mean, and then any other FMA channels you want to recommend out to? Love watching it. So just watch mine.
and mine.
Okay, so here we go. The three of us right here.
Oh, there you go.
Dean Franco has a channel with Filipino martial arts on it. Ty has a channel with Filipino martial arts, and I have a channel. You don't need to look at everyone else. No, there's plenty of good stuff. And here we go. I'm gonna give a shout out. If you want some other cool shit, Eric will be able to talk about this. Here we go. Wait for it. Maul Morney. Gotta watch Maul Morney. He's amazing, dude. I've met him a few times. He had me demo at his camp in Italy, and what a blast! So, and what a blessing there. And Carl was there too. And I'm saying on the last conversation, you know what I mean. I'm not sure. I don't. My head's been spinning lately. So, and my call from the Philippines came in. I'm assuming you two were making fun of me talking without the microphone on.
We didn't get to that yet.
No, in fact, we were no.
He jumped back on too fast.
I just don't call myself a student or martial artist without a dojo. Someone asked me. That's why like I said, a partial artist. You're doing all the work. You just don't have that instruction, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, Rome, yeah, yep, Rome.
You're doing the work you can do, and that does count for something.
Yes, it does. Trust me, I could lay hands on people very well long before I was in the martial arts, and that actually helped me once I got involved. So, yeah, but that's okay. I'll copy that. Okay.
Carl who just spoke up. He was one of the ones that first, along with Tim, when I decided to stop being a hermit, he was right there, and we were fast friends instantly. Talking about people that make you feel good. That was awesome.
I'm very polarizing, evidently. I've been told that. We got a good crew. You know, I know I have a persona that's bigger than life, and some people are intimidated by that. And know now, especially with the social media, even though some of my friends that I've known for a long time don't know how to take it. And of course, they make some decisions without talking to me about it. And once I've talked to people about it, they understand. But of course, part of the problem when they see social media, it depends on what your algorithms feed you. So I was talking to one of our guys, Chad, and he's like, man, all I see is the BJJ shit. I'm like, dude, there's so much more. But in his algorithms, it's feeding the BJJ stuff. And to be quite frank about this up front, I was doing point counterpoint with my fellow friends inside of the People Trending Network. So it was never a fight. It was never a real challenge. So, you know, but
it's a perspective and context thing.
Yeah,
and
some people don't get it.
Perspective
It
matters.
gets so easily lost and misconstrued on social media.
Yeah, yeah. This is
This is why I wear this shirt.
What's that? I wish you become better. Yes. I like that.
Because people tend to not be as good as they could, even though they have great potential. And
Are very quick to just jump and establish an opinion and just,
People suck. Let's put it this way, you know.
Or PAD, as my saying goes.
Yeah, people are dick. You know, I mean, I don't know. Well, you and Dean, you and I did a show on this recently, and Ty, we talked over the weekend about some stuff, and I'm just disgusted with the world, and you know, and I'm going to say it, but I'm not going to be. I don't, and lately when people are celebrating someone's death, you know, and when people argue about it and they're saying, well, he said this, that, and the other thing, you're like, you don't understand. I'm not talking about what he said. I'm talking about we shouldn't be celebrating anyone's death. And there's people out there who are killed of all different races, religions, and genders. And some of those people were not nice people. You never heard me say anything about them because they left friends and family behind. And I lost my father when I was 15. And if someone would ever say something negative about my father, who knows how I would have snapped. I had a bipolar stepfather who used to talk smack about my dad all the time, and I couldn't do anything about it because he's ex-military steel worker, twice my size. Really couldn't do much about it, you know, until I got big enough, and then he stopped talking when I stood up to him, you know. But the thing here is, you shouldn't be saying anything negative about someone because I was driving home, and I was listening to Fox, and this one reporter was going nuts. I'm like, man, he's over the top. And the last thing he said was, they killed my friend. And I'm like, okay, now everything is context. And this is my point. Every person out there, whether you like them or not, even if your family member was a gangster, when they pass away, someone is going to miss them. That's the common decency that I'm you know, and whether he said anything or not, and the whole thing with the world, like Ty has had people try to put wedges in between him and I because they don't like me. Oh, you know, he'd be so much better outside of his organization. You'll never be anything big as long as you're under Tim.
What does that mean?
Well, first of all, the person is minuscule to begin with. Secondly, more importantly, Ty is not underneath me. We were classmates together with Remy.
Well, that's the other side of that.
I know, but when somebody makes a statement like that, they're not even thinking about the person's journey or what they want.
I was going to say,
like who are you to like?
In my mind, that was all of those situations were extremely disrespectful of me, and unless you try to make me a bad guy or try to be bad to me, and then I have to bounce back. I'm the nicest a-hole you ever meet. I mean, I'm not a not nice guy. So to disrespect me like that to my face, I thought was, again, part of the thing where I don't feel as comfortable as I wish I would have. How's that?
Yeah, that's just, but I mean, just to like, who are you to speak for somebody's journey? Maybe they're very happy where they are.
Well,
Like,
but the other thing is, who's the problem is the person came off as if he was above Ty. I mean, for when you're teaching out of your basement or your garage, and what's worse than that? Oh,
I mean, I
teaching
don't
out-
know who you're talking about, and for the sake of
Yeah,
clarity,
we won't go down that.
I don't want to
Doesn't
know,
matter.
but
mean-
just in general,
Mhm.
like that's just obnoxious.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's like you said, they're so focused on the person they hate, they're not focusing on the person they're talking to. In this case, me,
Good point.
which is the disrespect.
Yeah.
That's
So and the thing here is the thing. Everyone has the opportunity of becoming something in our organization.
Mm.
They all have that opportunity. It's up to them.
there you go. Their journey, where they want their journey to go. Right?
And they may not want to be. Yeah.
All the upper folks, if you want to call them that. It's not that we care about position too much, but those who can are out there teaching a lot, not just Tim. And I don't see that in much of the others.
I watch
people
Jason
tell others what they should do with their journey.
Paid content.
Yep.
Jason's really good. Paul, I'm not a huge fan of Paul Ingram. I met him once. I think there's more knowledgeable Pikiti people than him. That being said, Jason's on point. I like him a lot.
Riddell has some neat stuff out there too.
Yeah, Riddell. Yeah, there's a lot of free content out there that you can check out. Until you can get your things sorted and figure out what you want to do in an official manner. So, that was awesome to meet Bald Brother. Okay,
back, what was that, 12, 13 years ago, whatever it was?
Pollywog. I've been a martial art fan since childhood. I've been attacked by a drug addicted with a knife, a few other unfriendly security moments. But stick on stick time is important. Okay, and then here we go. Maria, how you doing from Canada, Maria?
Long time no see. Yeah.
So no, I mean, Sheehan Woodman. We had yes. So Sheehan, Dean taught in Canada this past weekend, the Mississauga, Metro Toronto area. We had our camp from Buffalo. I'm just going to play the one-upmanship card here openly. Dean had Canadians show up. I had Brazilians. Actually, we had a Brazilian show up to my camp and learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu from a Canadian, which is kind of weird, but I mean, that's another one too. So, and
I got to roll with Talas, which is really odd given my hips would have cracked before I was someone that big.
But no, we all had great times this weekend spreading the art of Filipino martial arts and blade tech and defensive tactics. He and Ellen, Sheehan Allen announced it the other day. I officially am writing for his magazine. So
that's right.
Definitely check that out. I'm not sure when does that issue hit the digital stands? And then, but hey, listen, I was going to ask you about something, Dean. Burton.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you tell us something about his Zulu stick fight? I got some funny stories. A fun story from him when I first met him, and when June Castro was with him at the time, and we had talked about his experiences over there.
Oh yeah.
What's he got going on with his stick fighting program at the moment?
So late 90s, he went there twice.
Like
doing a movie or something?
No, he went there solely specifically to learn Zulu, and got it right from the tribes, and wonderful experience both times he went there. There were some definitely some funny stories that he experienced there, and so I can't really give a finite reason why he waited to this point to release it. My guess would be because he just had so much stuff chronologically going on each year that he released, and some other stuff. But at any rate, he did. So he released it, and I had a little experience just through Piper from Lloyd. Lloyd would tell me, hey, this influence, one of the influence of Piper is the Zulu. And so when Burton said he was going to do it, he says, look, would you mind being the guinea pig? I said, no, I would love to be. it's really, if you look beyond, just a war club and a shield, there really is a science to it. It's a tactic based system. There's not a lot to it, but it's still very relevant today there culturally. Rites of passage, weddings, stuff like that. They'll have that. And it's just war club selling disputes. War club. The steel, the axe and spear was 100% for warfare. Which is obviously, and thank God, not going on today. So really, what you see down there is mostly the activity of the war club for the reasons what I just mentioned. But I love it. It was one of the funnest. I can honestly say it was one of the funnest systems I've ever done. You get acclimated to shield, an all fleet structure. There's only a few shots, curve shot, drift shot, but you got to know when to do them in the correct time, and otherwise you're just going to be hitting a shield. You know what I mean? So there's ways to set them up and all that. So, but yeah, so I'm doing some folks asked me to do it. Some in WPM and others. Yeah, so I got ranked from it by Burden. So I'm doing it this Sunday. I forget the exact time, which I should know that, but it's this Sunday. If you bear with me, I can give you that information. And here we go. Yeah, so it is Sunday this Sunday and it's just an hour and a half, 90 minutes. It's just an intro, 11 to 12:30 Eastern time.
Okay.
Yeah. Fun system. And you don't have to get
Nice.
There's enough stuff that you can get where you don't have to buy the actual shield or get an official war club. And that's actually what I'm going to cover there, like what you can use in exchange for not having those items.
So I remember Burton telling me the story.
Which one was that?
So how he first got introduced. So he goes, yeah, here we got the stick. So the first thing they do a shot and hit my hand. Ow!
Yeah.
So then they said, okay. Then they give him they hit him with the stick. So then they give him a secondary weapon. And basically, they taught him the hard way of why they have all the different armor. Where it's like, all right, you got the two sticks, so they smash his hand. Ow! So here's the shield. And
he took there's one video he showed me where the guy just did a drift right down to his leg. I mean, you could tell Burton was still getting acclimated. You know what I mean? And Bird said he had that bruise. I think he said like a month or so. It was a long time. The discoloration he mentioned. Yeah. So. But it's a funny story too.
Poor guy.
Because in Zulu, you think about it. Okay, the whole targeting is you get the elbow, the knee, the leg, of course. Of course, the head, right? You know what I mean? But if you think about it, those are the targets they do. And for whatever reason, they generally wouldn't think to go to the hand. So one time, incidentally, Burton it was either incidentally or just from hand hunting in FMA, hit the guy's hand. The guy dropped a stick. And he was telling like everybody watching just started laughing because the guy dropped the stick. And now I don't know if there was just something to that or whatever. But so what I'm bringing this up is I said, well, hey, is it okay when I'm doing that? Is sometimes I look the target hand. He goes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fun system though. Really, really fun.
Nice. Well, it sounded like we all had a good time this weekend, and we had camps and stuff of that nature.
Traveling's starting to get to me, man. Like, Ty, how do you drive too?
It's been a while, but part of I did it for sanity, right? Because it was getting away from work.
Flying, you know what it is? Maybe if I drove, it's the flying. It's like the whole process, the airport. Then you got to worry about the flights, the connections.
Yep.
And the delays. And
when you drive, you just meditate and go from gas station to gas station.
That's what I mean. Like, I'm almost thinking like if it's not that, I'm like. Maybe that's just like would be easier. I don't know.
Well, I think there's a couple things. One of which is it boils down to how you were brought up in the martial arts. I mean, some people People ask me all the time, how do you go to these seminars all the time? I go, you guys go to tournaments almost every weekend, so it's no different, except I get paid and you don't. But the other thing is that we traveled that way to see Remy, so to me, it was no big deal to hop in a car and go, or hop in a plane and go. So
yeah, I got like for instance in Mass, I'm kind of like, look at no plane involved. All I gotta do is just drive over there.
It was like me in Texas, 5 hours any direction. I'm still in Texas, so that's how I followed Remy around.
Yeah, there you go. Like I'm still. Yeah. When's that again? That's the 6th. Wait, no.
You
15th, 15th, right? The 15th.
You have yet to get that date right off the top. You're still thinking it's in October.
Well, we're all of a certain age, so
it's to the 15th and 16th.
Yeah.
Right before. Well, I guess it's a good thing that it's after Halloween. Like, is that a good thing? I guess.
Yeah, you don't want it on Halloween.
Yeah, you don't want it. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Even though it's fun as heck, but everybody's there, and people.
He hates people, so
that's right.
Hey, before we wrap this up, because I think we had a good one. You were talking about youth episode and stuff of that nature. You, Dean, you were talking about having like next gens and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm bringing. In fact, I got to return a message now that I'm back now. It looks like it's going to be after this weekend, but Jacob, Noah, and Christian, those three, and bring on kind of like, what are you doing now kind of thing. They're all doing something, and they're obviously they're in their 20s. But yeah, so and whatever like you guys are thinking.
Well, no, I mean, because I sent you that resume.
Yeah, no, I saw it. Yeah. I think it would be good within his case.
Well, actually, I'm wondering if maybe a separate show, because it's another generation of people.
No, I was going to put him with them because I think he would.
How about if I've actually got like a cadre of new black belts that are all in their teens, and maybe pop into one of our classes.
I just think, what we should do? I think that could be a good show. Like, basically, you just set up in there, and they can kind of just bring in chairs, and you can be there, and we can just interview them and their experience.
Where the big screen TV is, we could actually have them do something physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I think that you know what I mean. Like, he would really be highlighted. If I put him with the others, he's not going to get highlighted.
No, I get it.
So I think that's a great idea. Get him and the ones that have just been recently promoted. If they could do some whatever, I think that'd be great. Yeah. I think it'd be neat to have like folks to see like teams. Yeah.
It'd be nifty.
Nifty.
I
think I like nifty better than neat. Yeah.
All right.
I like that.
All right. So what's the next thing you got coming up?
I'm hoping nothing. I'm like, I just don't travel well. Like people that Dean,
Dean, we know.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing. Like right now, I really want to get back to like just making sure everything's running in line with WPM and everything. And so I got the Zulu this Sunday. And then in October, I got a WPM thing, and I'm going to do a KI at the end of the month on there. And I think physically, which I'm absolutely so excited about, I'm not physically going anywhere till November, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
Nice. Totally fine with.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you guys? How about you, Ty? What do you got anything?
I think that's the same number I've got. So, which is good because I remember I'm still trying to enjoy my mostly retirement.
How's the transition?
So far,
the retirement?
So far, so good. I'm starting to finally feel like a real person again. So that's just happening now, and it's been 3 months or 4 months, whatever it is.
Yeah, but there's got to be that transition. Right?
Yeah, it hasn't been much of a transition. It's just been trying to get myself, recovered, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So, because how whiny I was.
You know how Ty is. He can't transition very well.
That's right.
All right, let me see here. Tim Dobson often drove 6 to 12 hours. Yep.
Yeah.
And Dan says hello. How you doing, Dan? Yeah. Well.
Yeah, so Tim's Bondo stuff was pretty neat. The folks enjoyed that. That was neat.
Nice.
So was he doing the kukri?
The cookery the first day, and the second day he showed some empty hand stuff.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of it was
it the board system?
Kind of similar to the sea lot stuff I was showing. So there was definitely some, which is no surprise, right? I mean, but yeah, he has some neat. I was just so thankful he came. I thought it was very nice of him to come. So
yeah, it's cool.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap things up here. Good show, gentlemen. It looks like we really, once again, working on the next generation to take over and do stuff.
Yep.
That's been my theme for the last.
Good. See, I haven't seen a while. Ty, it was.
Yeah, no, it's good to catch up again. But yeah, no, I agree. I think with us all doing the good things this week, that's the kind of work that plants those seeds that we got to do.
I cannot wait. In November, my sensitivity is going to a place unknown to mankind.
Okay.
Are you gonna be pushing hands with each other?
All right, good.
Absolutely, because every time I meet him, I get better and better. You better believe I'm going to.
All right, good. Well, I'm starting to teach Tai Chi here again pretty soon. Again, I finally got back into that. So, I might have to make sure I work that good.
All right, guys. As always, a pleasure, and thank you. And
good seeing you.
We'll talk soon. Yeah.
All right. Well, everyone, this is always a pleasure for us to do this show and have people watch. And having our friend Dean here, who thinks he's the co-host, but that's beside the point.
I'm just going what you told me behind closed doors.
Stop it, Ty's here. You got to stop this shit. Ty
Far be from me to try to cause divide and conquer and trouble. Okay. So.
All right. Well, as usual, we will. I'm not sure if we got anything planned for next week. I might take a little time off because we have the tournament, and then we have Barbados right after, and then the Philippines. So we'll see how things go. But we'll get a show in there too before. All right. Well, as always, it's a pleasure. This is Dr. Tim and
PG Ty's here and Dean. The Dean. GM Dean.
Dim Bronco.
And we'll everyone stay safe and stay sane. See you all soon.